beverage assistant that we have here at Interlux Hotels. Really appreciate you taking the time to meet with me. My name is Sophie and I'm a HR partner within the hotel chain. So I just wanted to let you know this meeting will be recorded and it will be kept safely in line with our GDPR policies. Is that okay with you?
Yes, it is. That's fine.
Brilliant. Okay, so just a bit of information about the meeting. It will last for approximately 15 minutes. I'll start with a few questions about your background and experience, and then I'll ask you a few questions related to your customer service and teamwork and your food and beverage knowledge. You will also have the opportunity to ask me any questions that you might have.
Thank you.
No problem. So can you tell me a little, something a little interesting about you that is not on your CV?
Well, actually, I am a fluent French speaker, and I think that's my father's French, and we spent a lot of time in France in the summer. So I think I think that's a useful thing, and I guess it should have been on my CV, but I didn't put it on there.
That's not a problem. Thank you for sharing that. So I bet you have been brought up with a variety of food and culinary experiences, shall we say?
Lots of experiences. Yes, that's correct.
Oh, brilliant. So whilst we're on the topic of food, so what is your favourite dish or beverage to serve and why?
Well, food, I could think it a really nice full piece of fish, just baked and grilled with a really nice glass of white wine. I think that would always normally be what I choose when I go to a restaurant, and I love a glass of Sauvignon with that.
So would you like to serve that to the guests that we offer, that we have at our hotel chain?
Yes, I would. And I think personally, I like to eat it, but I like to serve it just because it's healthy. It looks really nice on the plate. You can put some really nice veg with it. And as I said, it goes really nice with a glass of wine. So, and I also thinking of my customers, it's slightly more healthier maybe than a big fillet steak. So I think when somebody orders that, I'm always really happy.
Oh, brilliant. No, it always reminds me of holiday, having some nice piece of fish. So moving on, can you tell me a little bit about yourself, your experience in the food and beverage industry, and why you sort of opted to join this sort of sector?
I think it's in the blood of my family, really, I guess. My dad had restaurants, and I think his parents before him did. So I think it's always been in our blood. We've always enjoyed going to restaurants as a family. I've been working in the sector now for over 5 years, and I think I've learnt enough to be able to move on to a second level in a better type of quality place. And I think my specific skills I bring, I just really pride myself on customer service. Okay. I think it's really important to me that I try and exceed their expectations.
Yeah, that's something that we pride ourselves on here at Interlux Hotel: quality service, quality food and drink, and giving our customers that experience that they wouldn't find in other hotels. Now, what's made you interested in working with us at Interlux Hotels?
Well, I think it's very much as you've just said. I don't just do this as a job, I see it as a career. So for me, working in somewhere where there's a huge focus on customer services, where I know I've made a difference to somebody, and that's very much the name, and from the research I've done, the name of and the reputation that Interlux has. So for me personally, as I said, I don't see it as a job, it's a career, and I see that's where my future and my career progression goes in an organisation such as Interlux, with their focus on quality. Also, the fact you're global, I love travelling, I'm multilingual, so I felt it was a really good fit.
That is something that we do pride ourselves on, and something that we are looking within a person to fill this position. We would like someone who has that passion and in your blood, which is a very good answer to the question. So can you please tell me what you think excellent customer service in the food and beverage industry is?
I mean, I think I've referred to it a little bit, I guess. I mean, I think it's being attentive. I think it's trying to go above and beyond and give that little bit extra that maybe somebody else wouldn't. So overall, the customer has a really good experience and thinks, you know, the service there was excellent. As I said, going above and beyond a little, being attentive, just really making sure. And I think also focusing. I think I find it, you know, when you're serving in a restaurant or doing coffee or whatever you're doing, you need to have your eyes open and watching and looking what's going on. So not just one, you're just to look everywhere. And I think that's what I feel that I'm quite good at.
Okay. And obviously relationship building is key as well. We want our customers to feel like their hotel is their second home. That is a massively important thing for us here. So can you describe a time to me where you went above and beyond to satisfy a customer?
Okay.
Tricky question.
I mean, I think, yeah, I'm just trying to think, but I think one example is in the hotel I was working at before, we used to have regular customers, and they were easily in their 70s. And I found out that it was an anniversary meal, which they didn't tell anybody, but because I was talking to them the night before, they told me that it was their anniversary meal. And so they said they didn't want any fuss, but so I went to the chef. I said, would it be possible? These are very regular customers. Would it be possible that you could make a cake to go with their dinner the next night? And then we all went and said, happy anniversary. The lady nearly cried. They weren't expecting it. It was very special, and it gave you a really good feeling. And I know it made a difference to their night, and that made a difference to me. I had feedback they gave feedback to the senior management team. They put a good review on TripAdvisor. That's one of the things that sticks in my mind.
Oh, that's lovely. I suspect you made their evening very memorable and special.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. So that's what I mean when I say more of a career than a job. It's not just I come in and want to finish it, sort of thinking, oh, how many hours to finish. I want to make a difference in the time I'm there.
Yeah, that's lovely. So on the flip side now, how would you handle a customer that is unhappy? They're acting very difficult. They're unhappy with the meal or the service that they've provided. Can you tell me, please, what you would do?
I think you have to accept that you'll always get that, whether the food is good or the service is good. Sometimes it's what people do. So I think from my experience, the key thing is to really listen. First of all, they have to feel you're listening to them. The worst thing you can do is make them feel that they're being fobbed off and it's not important. So I found I always listen. I really try and understand what the issues were. And I will ask them what they want us to do. So I think asking them, keeping them talking, asking them what they want us to do, what would help them. And then if it's not something that I could agree to, if I feel it's justified, obviously, then I would go and get a member of the senior management team. But I think critically, to start it off, you have to listen to them. And that's what I would always try and do initially.
And unfortunately, we all get these customers within the hospitality industry that no matter how hard you've tried, they're just not happy. So it's nice to know that you would make them feel listened, and their complaints are sort of worthy in a way of your time to solve and put it right. So teamwork is crucial within the hospitality industry, especially busy big hotels like ourselves. So can you tell me about a time that you worked under pressure, and how did you contribute towards your team?
I think to be in this industry, you need to be able to work well under pressure, because there's always pressurized times, no matter how organized you are. I mean, things like weddings, where I've worked before the last hotel, they were quite well known for weddings, and weddings are really pressurized, partly because the bride is what you do once. So we had quite a large wedding. I was on the floor. We were under a lot of time pressure for a number of reasons. So it was absolutely important that everybody knew what they were doing. And I think when you're under a lot of pressure, it's very easy to flap and think, what do I do next? For me, I write everything down. I prioritize. I'm quite good at prioritizing. And I sort of brought the whole team into this, making them feel it was everybody's idea. and we had a list of jobs to do. We helped one another if somebody was in trouble, and we made sure we covered everything as a team. And I think it's important to make, when you're working as a team, to make everybody feel part of it and that they're all contributing. And it worked really well. It was pressurized at a time, but
You can imagine weddings
but
are
it
very
did. The end
stressful.
result was really good. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And did you take the role within that sort of delegation of
Yeah.
jobs to people?
Yes, I did. I did, just because I'm quite organised in that way, and it's how I deal with pressure, is prioritise and make a list and make sure, because it's easy when you're under a lot of pressure to forget something. So making a list for me is the way I ensure that doesn't happen.
You need to remain under control in control at all times.
Yeah.
So I think we've touched based on how you handle working at peak pressure. Sort of prioritizing your tasks, delegating is really, really important, as long as you do it in the right way. So I'm going to test your food and beverage knowledge here.
Yeah.
So panic, you sound like you've had good experience. So I am coming into the hotel and I'm a guest, okay, and I'm sitting down in the restaurant. How would you recommend a dish or a drink pairing? Because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to match wines and food together. So can you please tell me how you would do that?
I think first of all, I'd ask them whether they were vegetarian or they had any allergies.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then whether they were more interested in fish or meat. Did they want a nice piece of lamb or beef or a piece of fish? Hopefully fish. But whatever they chose, then I'd then find out, obviously, whether they liked it rare, etc. If it's lamb or beef, how they wanted their fish grilled, baked with garlic butter or with a sauce, sort of giving them some advice on what I'd prefer. And then I think then we could talk about wine, and I'd need to understand. I don't know a lot about wine. I know a little bit about wine, but I wouldn't try and say something that I didn't know, but really I'd try and aim whether they liked sweet, medium sweet, dry. And I think I'd recommend a wine that was mid-range. I think I wouldn't recommend too expensive, just sort of a couple of stages above the house wine to begin with, and just see how they reacted to that. But I think it's important to find out what their taste is and whether they have any, whether they're sweet or dry, etc.
Okay. So if I asked you, or if I said to you, I'd like a fillet steak, would you suggest me having a glass of white wine with that?
No, some people do like white wine, but I would most probably say the majority of people feel like red, and maybe something like a Malbec or a Shiraz.
Okay.
As a mid-range type of more general. Obviously, if it was somebody more experienced, I might look at a French Bordeaux or Burgundy, somebody who sort of had a more experienced taste in wine.
So we do at Interlux Hotels provide extensive training on wine and pairings, wine with food. So if that is something you're interested in, and we do provide you with that offer of,
I am really interested in taking advantage of that.
Well, please, if the offer does come out, please speak to your line manager about that, because that's something that we would love to get you involved in. So what steps would you take to ensure that food safety and hygiene standards are met within our hotel?
I mean, that's a big question, and there are lots of things. But if I just think about some, I mean, obviously services are clean, sanitized, wash my hands regularly, encourage others to wash their hands. In fact, I think it's important you don't get different types, that you focus on allergens, and you don't get sort of gluten-free bread if you're doing breakfast service next to a normal loaf. You have to make sure that food is rotated properly so that you use the oldest first, but also equally that it's kept at the right temperature and they're not out of date at all. So it's lots of things, some of which are common sense and some of which are, part of a process. But cleanliness, I do realise the importance of health and safety and cleanliness in the environment that I work, because of the impact it can have on the individual customer and also obviously the hotel's reputation.
Yeah, definitely. We will also provide training on that. We do frequent training days where we hire in off off-site training providers, and they come and teach you all the up-to-date food and hygiene standards as well. So if it's not to the front of your mind, don't worry, that is something that we will be able to help you with. So do you have any questions for me about the hotel, about the company, about how we run?
I've researched the company, obviously over the internet. I'm aware that you position yourself at the top end, luxury, fine dining, sort of, and customer service is very important to you to get repeat guests. So which is everything which I like to hear. I have said earlier here that I'm keen on career progression. This isn't a job to me to give me some money, it's a career. So I'd quite like to understand about staff retention, really. How do you have a good record of staff protection?
So our turnover rate is extremely low. We pride ourselves on this. Obviously, we have sort of more temporary workers, uni students on a break, so that will increase our staff turnover. But our staff that we employ that are here to stay, they stay.
Okay.
We put this down to our amazing staff training schemes, our structured succession planning, the opportunity for internal promotion. We want to reward our staff that do well and that show us that they're invested within the company. We want to reward them by promoting them from within. We find that it really helps boost staff morale. It encourages a really great working culture. On top of that as well, we also have a really, really attractive staff benefit scheme. So we do things like trips out, for instance, from 3 months. These all kick in within 3 months, and they will be attached to your offer letter at the bottom. But for instance, we do annual trips abroad, we do a staff lottery, we do company pension, obviously. You get extra days holiday for the longer that you stay with us. You get days off on your birthday and things like that. So if you give us the time and your commitment, we are committed to making you happy, and we want to see you succeed within your role. So we offer.
Okay. I mean, that's pretty important to me, actually, and I think that would be one of the main reasons why, if I'm offered the job, I would take it, because it is critical. It is important to me. And also, if I wanted, is there an opportunity to move globally within the group?
I mean, I'm sure that we could advise you with helping you with that. If we have roles within our sister hotels within other countries and you've got the right experience and the role is right for you, we will definitely put you forward for that role. Obviously, you will have to interview again like everybody else, and your role with us within your UK branch will still be safe throughout this process. But yeah, we want to see you grow. And if that means moving to another one of our sites, then we'll be sad to see you go. But of course, we can manage something like that, definitely.
Okay, thank you. I mean, that's really interesting. And I think those were the basics. Obviously, I know about the holiday, the salary, etc. But that was the main additional questions that I wanted to ask you.
Okay, brilliant. Well, Anne, thank you very much for your time. It was an absolute pleasure to speak to you.
Thank you.
It's been really nice to hear your background within the hospitality industry, and I wish you the best of luck with the further.
And when will I hear? When am I likely to hear?
We will aim to get back to you within no more than 5 working days.
Okay.
And
that's whether I'm successful or not.
Yes. So if you are
successful, it's quite nice to hear whether you're successful or not, rather than nothing.
I can imagine it's a bit of a ropey 5 days waiting, isn't it? So we will make it as quickly as possible. We do have 2 more candidates to interview today, but we will revert back to you within 5 working days, and you'll be sent either a job offer letter, or it will be a letter of sort of, sorry, you haven't been successful this time, but if we do feel you will be suitable for another role that we potentially have, we would like to keep your records stored on file.
Okay, that's no problem.
Obviously, that will be in line with our GDPR policies again as well. And then we can contact you with any similar roles that we have on available as well. But we'll put that in the email for you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Not a problem at all. Thank you so much for your time, Anne. Have a great day.
No problem. It's a pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.